Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and I am here with another design team project for Rubber Stamp Tapestry. And this time I'm going to focus on their Perfect Layering Circles peg stamp set. Now, you've seen me show this before, but again, let's stretch what we have and let's see how a simple circle can create just a very interesting card. So this is the set here, and these are the different size circles that you get from large to small. Now, I really do love this, something so simple. Now, what's great with this video, as I giggle, is I went in so many different directions. It was kind of funny. Again, thought I was going to the right, felt the need to go to the left. What was even better, I got two cards. Now remember, they have their registry line. In this case, it doesn't matter. Now, when it comes to these peg stamps, I always like to have a baby wipe by because that's how I clean them. And these are the colors that I'm going to use. Now, usually I pull out my Memento dewdrops. I don't know what it is. It's like a connection. But this time, I pulled into my Gina K inks and my Altenew. Yes, I got the new ones that were released last year. But Jelly Bean Green, Wild Dandelion, Dusty Rose, Ocean Mist, and Lovely Lavender are the Gina K. And then for the Altenew, I'm using Gray Denim and Silver Lake. So if you've seen any of my videos before, I love those old vintage photos where they look black and white or vintage and ivory, if you want to call it that, and then there's just this pop of color. I just love that look. So I usually do sometimes something that's black and white and then this pop of color. So that's kind of where my mind was going. So that's why I'm using the two Altenew inks. Now, of course, they're in colors, you know, I do get them in the set of 4. So you have a light to a dark. But again, you can still use these. You can use one ink pad and get 3 to 4 shades, depending upon if you use that first generation or that second generation or third or fourth, depending upon your color. So you can see I'm just using the different sizes. Sometimes I'm using a second generation. Sometimes I'm using a first. And now I'm going to come in with a darker shade, but just to create kind of like a, what's that, bokeh? I forget what it's called. You guys know what I'm talking about, and I'm sure you'll all type it down below, so let me know. But just that type of effect, or bubbles. Let's call them bubbles. I like bubbles. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the same stamps, but now I'm going to get into the colors. So on this piece of cardstock, I'm not going to use the second generation. I want to use that first generation. And I'm going to constantly make sure I'm cleaning my stamps. Sometimes I forget. You'll see that. Because, you know, colors mix. Yeah, they blend beautifully. But you keep going. We don't stop. And this one, I was really having a problem. I'm like, okay, well, now why did I do that? So, again, we keep going with our cards. We don't, paper has 2 sides. We can change it. So you can see I'm just putting these dots here, and I'm kind of focusing to the center. There's a die that I'm going to be using. It's actually a Simon Says stamp die, and it's called the Happy Birthday Circle. So you'll see this soon. So I'm imagining what this size is. Of course, I don't have it in front of me right now, so I can make sure of the size, but that's okay. We keep going. I think I'm close in the area. Once I get 2 of the dots down, now I'm going to come back in with a third just to fill in. I'm okay if they're overlapping. You get this different look, this different effect. So this is the outer ring. It's a 2-set die. So I'm noticing, you know what, I want more color, so I'm just going to fill in with some more areas. So I figured let's go with a purple because everything else was so bright. Why am I singing? But just to fill that in, so I know that's the area that I want. So I'm going to move my dies now, and I'm going to place the outside because I know that's where I want that to be set. And then I have the plate that's going to come in. Now this is a very dainty plate. It's very thin, but I fell in love with it. I just had to have it. And I'm going to set that in place, and I'm going to carefully remove it from the die. But it cuts out this circle, and once you remove all these fiddly little pieces here, and eventually I pull in my craft pick, it says happy birthday. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, oh, this is really cool. But then at the same time, I'm looking, I lost all my dots. All my dots are gone. And I kind of got upset. I'm like, oh, I was looking for that, but I wasn't looking for that. Because with just the words, with his here, you get to see the colors. I like the look. But I kind of lost the idea that I had. Never fear. We're going to make a second card. And we got to save that little dot. Yeah, I don't know how I never lost that little dot. It's smaller than a pinhead. It was amazing. So back to the drawing board, but we're going to add to what we already have. So notice I still have the original one sitting up top there. I like the effect that it's going through. That was papers I just dropped. That's going through the sentiment of happy birthday. But I'm going to create another panel. So I went through, I did all my stamping again. And I have that back panel there. So then what I want to do now, and again, I have that sitting there. I'm still not thinking somewhat, but I know I want that there. So I grab my black cardstock. So I cut just the circle background. So now realizing, and again, this is my process. I'm realizing, okay, that's not what I wanted to do. Now I need to cut another one, but I needed to cut it with both pieces. I wanted the sentiment to be in black, if that makes sense. So I've got my pieces die cut. So now I've got them. Now my head finally clicked. My brain, for some reason, I was loving all of this, but I was just losing my train of thought, which was making me laugh hysterically. I have to be honest with you. So what I'm going to do is I have the one where I cut out the sentiment from the dotted background or from the dotted panel that I did. So that's okay. I'm going to take that and I'm going to adhere that to the black circle. So now I have this bold black background that's going to actually accent the sentiment and show those different colors that I used. So that's one. Now I'm just going to come in. I always like to come in with my tweezers because sometimes I get carried away with the glue and just clear out the edges. That's what I'm doing here. You can also do it with a Q-tip. I just like to do that with something pointy, so to speak. And my tweezers are great, which I should really stop because then they stick together. Yeah, it's a process. So there's that awesomely small dot that I was even surprised I was able to hold on and not lose the black one on a black mat. Yeah. So now I'm going to do the same thing, but reverse it. So now I've got the panel of the polka dots, which we'll call those polka dots because that's what it looks like. They're circles. And now I'm going to take the black sentiment panel and put that on top of that. So that one's going to show more circles. It's also, by doing this, you get the look of a die cut inlay technique. So again, that's where you would cut this same panel, these two dies together from both of these cardstocks, and then you would literally piece all of those pieces back in. So think about that. Do you want to go crazy? Do you not want to go crazy? It all depends. Obviously, my brain was not thinking of that. So here is a way to make it look like you did a die cut inlay. And it really does look like that, okay? Until you get up to it and you can see that it's sitting on top of the panel. But if you don't point it out, no one would know but you, right? Right. Okay. So now I'm sitting here going, okay, so now I've got these two panels, or I've got this one, because remember, I started out making one panel, one card. So I figured, you know what, I want the really bright one with the bright background to be positioned on the one with the black polka dots. I cut another panel, and I'm going to use the one with the black background to sit on that. So I have a little pencil mark, and I'm going to set that right where I want it. Now, why the pencil mark? Because we're going to doodle. You guys know I love to doodle. I'm going to turn it into a balloon. So I'm just going to draw the base of the balloon. I'm going to draw my curly Q line, and don't forget my squiggles that I like to put down on the lines, just for some reason, I don't know why. And now I'm going to adhere that circle panel onto this. So now it just looks like a balloon. But wait till you see what I do next. Yeah. As my brain keeps going, because again, we come up with these ideas as we continue to create, and they're good ideas. I'm going to tear this off. If you go very carefully, you can actually get this panel off. Do I recommend this? Absolutely. Again, we don't throw anything off. I wasn't going to throw that panel away. I wasn't going to throw all that stamping away. If I carefully remove it, even if it tears the paper like it did, look, I'm going to tear that away. No one's going to see it. I'm going to put this down in the same exact spot. So again, paper has two sides. If you remember that, see, I keep all my scraps. I keep them off to the right. What I'm going to do, I'm just cutting a cloud. Now, I could have grabbed a stencil that I have. I could have grabbed a die, whatever it is. You could just cut a cloud. If you don't have a cloud stencil, if you don't have a cloud die, make your own. They're simple. So now I'm just grabbing one of my Nuvo blending brushes that already has some ink built up onto it, and I'm just using that. I want this so soft, but you can faintly see those clouds in the background. Yes, it's also emphasizing the area that I tore my panel off. That's okay. I'm going to cover that up right now. I'm going to put a little bit of pressure so that it goes down onto it. Yep, thumbs up there. And none is the wiser. And that's just our panel. So now I came up, even though I was looking at the one, I came up with two very quick cards. Very quick. So now I'm just going to use my liquid adhesive and put them right onto my standard A2 size card bases, which are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and mine are top folding. Usually that is what I gravitate to, the top folding card bases. And once that's adhered, we are all set. Now the glue that I'm using is my art glitter glue in my containers that I get from Amazon. They do clog up. I just use a pin, unclog it. So those are the two different looks, and they do look very different. One looks larger, one looks smaller. It kind of plays, you know, with the eyes. Now I thought the one, let's add some gems. I've really fallen in love. These are actually the Studio Katya black onyx gems. I also love the pretty pink posh ones, ivory. I've been really gravitating to those too. But I just wanted to accent some of my circles that I have in the background, which will then also help pull out that black that's going through the card as well. And yes, I'm using my triangle containers a lot better now. Yes. And I am using my wax pencil to pick up the gems and set them down onto my card. And those triangle things really do make it better. So those are the projects that we made today. It was supposed to be one, but why not make two? I hope you did enjoy them. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave those down below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Also, all of the products that I used will be listed down below also, just in case you wanted to check them out. And I will have a link to the Rubber Stamp Tapestry website, their blog, and also their store. They have some awesome, wonderful products. So I hope you'll stick around to see more of their videos coming from me, being on the design team. So I thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe and tune in for my next video. Here are a few other videos I thought you might like that's similar to this one and within the Rubber Stamp Tapestry family. But by all means, everyone, take care and always remember, be creative.